If you're watching this video, be sure to check out the part 1, alright? Hello, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you guys are doing good. This video is just the continuation of my previous video where we learned how we can embed a record link in the body of an email. But in this video, we will learn how to actually view and edit the details after the user is landed on this page. Okay, so without wasting further more time, let's get right into the video. As you can see here, this is a summary record view which basically allows students to find the information they need about themselves. Okay, and it is composed of an interface that displays information from a single record to the end users. Okay, so let's go back to Appian Designer and create an interface. Okay, interface, we'll name it as K summary view. Okay, create. What I'll do, I'll just copy the same code which I have in my student details interface. Go to expression and copy the entire code, Ctrl A, Ctrl C, and paste it in your summary view interface. Okay, we just have to make a bit of changes as we are only going to display the information and not going to save it, so we don't need this save into parameter. Okay, with the help of this value parameter we will be able to display the information, that is first name, last name and age. So we'll get rid of this save into from this field as well and here as well. I'll just format the code. Now I have to create this rule input of CDT type. Click here. I'll name my rule input as student details and type should be CDT K student details. Okay, create. This has been created. Now I'll just save my changes. Okay, oh, I just forgot to get rid of this label. Okay, there you go. I'll save my changes again. This is done. What I need to do, I just need to configure this interface in my record. Okay, I'll go back to my designer and open my record. Under views tab, you just have to add your interface. Here I have to call the same interface rule K summary view. Summary view, and I have one parameter in here which is of type CDT. Okay, student details. So I'll just create an expression rule to fetch the student details by student ID. Okay, get student details, create. I'll use launch the query editor to save up some time. Select data source. So my data source is data store entity. I'll select my data store entity which is nothing but my constant. Okay, K DSC student details. Okay, continue, and then in here I will add a filter as I'm going to filter my data based on my student ID. So I'll just select student ID equal to, okay, in here you just have to select input variable as we are going to make it dynamic. Okay, so I'll just create a rule input, add new rule input, student ID, description is not needed, type is going to be number integer. Okay, click OK. It has been created. I will just map this field to the rule input which I have just created. Student ID. I think rest looks good. I'll just generate query. Okay, the the query has been generated. If I just test this by passing my student ID, it should return me the record. Yes, it is returning my record, but it is in the data subset form, which have additional attributes like total count, start, index, batch size, sort. I just need the data out of this, so I'll just index the data, okay, using index function. Index data and the default parameter, okay. If I test this again, now it's just returning me the data, okay. I'm good to save the changes now, and I have already written my expression. I just have to pass in the data. Rule k get student details, okay. I will have to pass the student ID, so I'll just map the student ID to RV identify, which is nothing but the primary ID. If I just pass 7 as my student ID, it will fetch the data and it will pass the same data to student details, which is nothing but the input variable of my form, right? Once the data is passed to this input variable, it will display the information, okay. So this is done. I'll just hit OK and save my changes. Now if I show you guys how my record summary view looks like by going back to the record and refresh the screen, I should be able to see the details, okay. Now that's a boo-boo. These are the text field, right? And there is also a submit button, which we don't need. And the data should be in the read-only format, right? So I will go back to my interface and will use read-only parameter over here, read-only true. Okay, copy this, paste it over here as well. Okay, done, and we'll just get rid of this button, which we don't need. I'll format the code and save my changes, and we'll go back to my same record and refresh the screen. Now it's in read-only format, so it's working as expected. Now we just need a button over here to be able to edit my details, okay. So we'll create another process model for editing the details, okay. K edit student details. Cool. Security is already in place. Save the changes. I could have tailored this process model, this one which we created for writing the data and sending out the email, but then I just thought of not making it complicated and keeping it simple, so have created another process model for editing the details. We'll use write to data store entity to store the data, okay, and it should also have process start form, right. We will be making use of same interface, which is case student details, okay. I'm not going to create a separate interface for editing my details, but I will make use of my existing interface, case student details, k student details, okay. Do you want to automatically create process parameters to match your interface inputs? Yes. Process variable has been created. This is the input variable of my form and is mapped to this process variable student details. If I just head on to this variables tab, you can see the process variable here named as student details, which is mapped to the input variable of my interface, right. I'll just hit OK and we'll go to the properties of my write to data store entity, head on to this data tab. Under inputs tab of a data store entity, we have a data store entity wherein we have to call my data store entity, which is nothing but the constant using const domain. A dsc student details. Cool. Save and close, and we'll create another node input to store the form data. The type of this node input should be same as my data store entity, okay, which is of type cdt. So we'll call my cdt k student details, and we'll map this to student details. Done. Okay. Activity chain the nodes. It's very important to activity chain the nodes when you configure your process model as a related action, especially for editing the details. We'll just validate it to see if there is any error or not. The process model contains no error. I'm good to save this. Okay, save and publish. Now I'll go back to my record, and under actions tab, I'll just configure my related action. Okay, I'll name it as edit student details, and dialog box size large, small, medium. I'll go with medium and select a process model. Edit student details. Okay, I can see this process variable over here because it's parameterized. Now I just need to pass the data to this process variable. I'll call the same expression rule which I have just created to fetch the student details. Okay, I need to pass the student ID, which is nothing but the primary ID, right? RV bank identifier would do my job. So this is done. What this will do here, this will just pass the filtered data to the student details, and I would be able to see the information. Okay, and save changes. But we forgot to configure related action shortcuts for this summary view, right? So under the views tab, under related action shortcuts, select the related action you want to display as a button for this summary view. Okay, you just need to check this box, okay, so that this can be available on the same summary view screen. Okay, and just save the changes. Now if you go back to the same record and refresh the screen, now in here you can see the information along with this button, edit student details. I'll create a new record. Okay, I'll just go to my site case student. Now we'll fill up the form student name, age 23, submit. Okay, if I check my inbox, I should receive an email. Refresh. Yes, I have received one. Record has been created. Click here to view the details. Okay, if I click this, it will take me to my record summary view screen. And student is the title of my record, and I can see the additional information like first name, last name, age. If I want to edit any of the details, I can just hit this button over here. The label says please fill up the form, which shouldn't be the case, and it should be conditional based, right? You can use a if condition for your label to check if primary ID is already there. Then label should say edit student details, else it should say please fill up the form. Okay, I'm not going to do that now because I'm just trying my best to keep my video as short as possible. Will change my name to last name, and age to 24. Okay, submit. Last name and age have been changed to last name and 24 respectively. So that's pretty much for the day. If you want more such videos, please like my video, share it as much as you can, and yes, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys in my next video. Until then, cheers, bye bye.